Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
As you can see, we have an amazing guest with us. This is Chooks.
Hello.
And for the first time is our guest on something like podcast. So welcome once again, guys.
Thank you, Bobola and Shaitan, for having me here. I've been following your podcasts back in the days when you started.
Back in the days. As in 20 years ago.
It's a good opportunity to be here and all to be on this couch, right? This famous couch.
Yes.
On the famous indeed.
Yeah. And I hope your fans who are watching will welcome me to this famous couch too. But I'm looking forward to.
Of course they would. They are nice people.
I bet they will. Yeah. I bet they will. And as always, my name is Bobola and
my name is Shaitan.
Yes. So and
Awesome.
we're your hosts as always. Something like podcast. And I'm actually looking forward to today's conversation because this is actually the first time we would have
a guest
with us. So yeah, this should be an interesting one, and I'm actually particularly interested on his views on today's topic. Yeah.
Before we get into it, should tell us a little bit about yourself.
Just a tiny little bit.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Chooks, and a tiny little bit about myself. I'm a man. And
you don't mean it.
I know, right?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, who would have thought?
Do you know? So introductions are a really interesting part because you have to know the audience, right, and all that. So I don't know how to introduce myself anymore, but I live in Cambridge, Ontario.
Tech bro.
Work in tech. I am married. I am a believer. I love sports and
history,
I love
politics.
Yeah,
and
barbecues.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Remember when we were saying that we wanted to go? We're going for a friend's barbecue party.
Yes. This is the friend.
Which one of the
Here
parties?
is the friend. Exactly. Like always so quick to fire up the grill. That's the solution to everything.
I mean, you have to enjoy the little luxuries of life, right?
True that.
We have the weather that's good, and we've got the sun out and everything. Before winter comes, you just have to
fire
enjoy
the grill
the luxuries
at least 20 times. Another interesting fact about Chooks is that he knows a little bit about everything. So, I mean, who else would we have brought?
Yep.
You get so.
You'll probably be seeing more of him. So just
hopefully.
Okay.
But you cannot say no.
Send you the invoice now. I mean, you guys are up to it.
We're capable.
Subscriber count, I'm sure. Something monetized.
Man, of which you should subscribe because Chooks is seeing like 300 subscribers.
Yeah, so subscribe.
Help us
get into the future.
I mean,
help us get to 300.
And that will help with the amount that I invoice them to. So yeah, it grows directly proportional to the number of subscribers. I'll send you the formula.
Okay, thank you, mathematician. That said, introductions done and banter done. We have quite a serious topic that we want to talk about today. It's called the church, the pulpit, and politics.
Yeah.
What's funny? Okay, so we're basically just talking about today, or would want to hear from Chooks, and also would rub minds together on how the church and politics, like, do they have anything in common? Should there be any relationship between the church and politics and things like that? So we hope it will be a very nice and interesting.
I bet it will.
And I guess it's coming in at a timely manner in that the Nigerian election is coming up next year, and there's a lot of campaign and everything going on.
Seeing interesting stuff.
Yeah, so why not? It's like why not talk about this during this period? So I guess first things first, we can talk about should Christians be involved in politics
at all?
Should Christians be involved in politics? We're going to open the floor to Chooks. What do you think?
Special guest.
Our special guest.
Oh boy, on the spot, right? Right out of the gate.
Yeah.
You won't throw me the softball ones and define politics. Who is the father of politics?
No, we're not here for
This is not political science.
political science.
People can see what we're saying.
Should Christians be involved in politics? That's a loaded question because you need to define what involvement is.
Okay.
And politics, what's politics? Politics is governance of a people, all the activities that relate to governance of a people. So there are a lot of areas of involvement, right? If politics is all the activities that are involved in governance of people, that means legislating of law is politics, executing of projects politics, a lot of other stuff is part of politics, and there are activities like electioneering, campaigns, and all that. Of course, Christians have to be involved in politics because there's a lot of facets in it. You can be the one that's voting for someone, you can be the one that they are voting for, you can be on a campaign, you can be an official member of a party in democratic institutions. Not all governance is democratic, as we all know, right? So some are authoritarian and all that, but I mean, I feel in the context of most of the viewers and everything, everyone is used to the democratic institutions, so maybe
true.
We can talk within that scope. So, yes, I feel Christians should be involved in politics. When you see the manner of speech of Jesus and even Paul, but even Jesus when he said, "Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's," I guess it was talking about taxes then, which is an activity under politics, right? Because they legislate what taxes should be given. And Jesus did not turn a blind eye to the mode of governance in that day. It was Caesar that was the emperor then that was ruling the Roman Empire in which Jesus was living in, and he recognized that. You hear Apostle Paul talking to Governor Felix and talking to him about some things, right? You see all these kind of things, and over the years you or even in biblical times, not even over the years, you see that interaction of some of the what can I call it, the Hebrews cloud of witnesses in Hebrews 12, or the people in the Hall of Fame in Hebrews 11, talking about or involving themselves in governance and legislations and the rule of law and all these things, right? So,
okay, so Christians can
were they Christians? They were not Christians, but that's another.
But
yeah, but at least we can see that like there's no reason to separate. Like as a Christian, you're also a citizen of whatever country you're in. So I definitely agree with the fact that there's nothing like we can't search scriptures and say, oh, there's something that says, or there's any part that says that a Christian should have nothing to do with politics. I don't so I don't see that. So I definitely agree that Christians should be involved in politics. But I think my question would then be a step further, like should ministers or pastors or spiritual leaders, just to put all of them under an umbrella, be involved in politics? Because it's a little bit, because I mean there are things that a Christian can do that, but there are certain things that people would probably bat their eyelids, or just should you really be doing that when a spiritual leader is doing it? And it's sort of what brought up this topic for us, right? Like reactions, because I honestly believe that it's more polarizing when spiritual leaders are involved in politics. I think that gets more reactions from people for some reason. So I think that would be my follow-up. Yeah, okay, we all agree, I guess, Shaitan, you also agree, Christians can be or should be involved at some level in politics, but should pastors be involved? Should bishops, reverends, what have you? It's the same, right?
I think like while chicks is still still thinking about it. I think we can accord the same what's the word now? Answer, right? Yes, why not? We cannot say, oh yes, Christians can be involved or believers can be involved, and then like why are we ranking pastors or believers above, I don't even want to say regular Christians or regular believer. I believe they can. Now the issue would be if you're now going there and doing things that are not Christ-like. I think that is where I have an issue. And if someone is going to judge you, I think they should also be able to judge another Christian who goes into that same position and is not doing anything. And is doing like the wrong thing, right? Now, I don't think that pastors should be like scrutinized so closely, right? Because you're going into politics. If you're going in there to make a change, yes. What I would say they shouldn't say is I'm going in there as a form of ministry. You are not going in there as a form of ministry. You are going there as a politician.
Yeah.
So going there as a politician. I don't see any reason why pastors or ministers or whatever cannot. After all, we're all ministers of reconciliation, right? Every believer is a minister of reconciliation. So I don't see why not. What do you think, Chooks?
I guess it still boils down to what I stated. The word involved is a very loaded word. Okay. If a pastor votes, he's involved in politics. Because politics, as defined, is the activities that relate to the governance of people. So taking part in a march, you're involved in politics.
Yeah.
But I feel what you guys meant by involved in politics mean
to be
running
to be voted for, to represent people, and all that, right? Yes. So to be voted for, to represent people. So I feel that doesn't apply to being the voter or appointments and all that. So it's just about being proactive, about being that one that represents people.
Yes.
Two things about that. Number one is, firstly, where is the time for pastors and all that, right, to effectively do both things? The calling to ministry is not something that should be taken lightly.
Sure.
And
I agree.
I mean, you see pastors of 50,000 churches. I don't know how 50,000 population. I don't know how they do that, but I mean, leaving that bias aside, even if it's 30 people that
a lot of work.
You are a shepherd over, and you are to whatever your hand finds to do it to the best of your mind or something, right? Where is the time to shepherd 30 people if that's how big your church is, and also represent your constituency or state or whatever you're running for? That's crazy. I mean, people quit their 9-to-5 jobs just to be involved in politics. Now, not to talk of a job of a pastor who is not
it's full time.
9-to-5.
No, 9-to-5.
It's like 7 days a week. You conduct weddings, you conduct burials, naming ceremonies, counseling, all these things, and something has to give. It's either you put that calling on pause
and go for politics,
or but now that is involved in the place of running. Now involved in the part of influencing decision making of people, I guess, is another part of the discussion,
and it's also key.
Yes,
it's really key.
We have seen it a lot. I mean, bishops coming to or supposed bishops coming to endorse some candidates in the run up to the elections in Nigeria and all that, right? Should they be doing that? I guess that's a different conversation from should the pastors be the ones that people vote for. So which one do we want to tackle first?
All of the above. I think we already tackled the running for office.
Right.
Then we can go on
that running for office one.
it seems like it's something that it's difficult to juggle like both, because both demand like a high level of how do I put it now, like involvement. Like it takes a lot. It takes a whole lot to do either. So combining both.
Well, not every pastor is the pastor of an entire congregation. So, for example, if I have a cell of 5 people, I am the pastor. But then I am so passionate about wanting to see, especially in the state of whateverness that Nigeria is in at the moment, and I'm so passionate about that. Why don't I? Even if it's to start from my local government, I don't see why I cannot be involved. I do get your point of, there's a whole, this is like you're managing people on both ends, and it's a lot of work, mental and physical. But I don't see why not. Like, why, if a pastor can be a doctor, there are pastors who are doctors, and we know how tasking it is to be a doctor. There are pastors who are lawyers and all. Why not? I don't see why not.
Yeah, sure. If they feel like, I think, if you think that is something that you would be able to juggle, because even the example of pastors that have other like day jobs, at some point a lot of them, when as their ministry or church grows, a lot of them actually drop their 9 to 5 jobs. A lot of them drop their. So, I mean, the example you gave of someone that is leading a cell, doesn't have maybe the ultimate responsibility over their sheep, in quotes. Like, a leader of a cell is like a sub thing in a larger ministry. So there's an ultimate person in that church.
But he's still a pastor, right?
Yes. So I guess it just depends. The point is just that, okay, are you really going to be able truly to manage both at the same time? So if the answer is yes, like, I think that answer is true, not just for politics, but for anything, any other thing you think you want to combine with ministry. If you think that you'll be able to do both diligently, then why not? If you can't, then it's better you actually just decide which one you want to pursue, like, actively.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying pastors can't have a vocation.
Okay.
A pastor needs to make money too. In the vocation, Paul was a tent maker. Luke was a physician. Apostle Luke, right? So, yes, there's some. You have to make money. You have to have a vocation that puts food on the table. Now, if you're going into politics as a vocation to make money, you understand, right? You are already going for the wrong reasons.
100%.
So I have no qualms with pastors being doctors, engineers, whatever. They need to make money while also attending to that ministry, right? Now, politics is not for money. If we are being idealistic with it. So now imagine a pastor who has a vocation that's making money, as many pastors do now, and now going for
Politics,
governance. That would be interesting. Is there anything in the Bible against that? I don't think so. Viewers can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just looking at the practicality of it. I'm just looking at the because as the way politics is being run in a democratic institution, as we know, you've got lots of meetings, you've got lots of compromises, you've got lots of stuff that you need to attend to. You need to cater to your constituents, the people that voted you in and represent their interests. You need to know their interests first and all that. Can they do it? Sure, they can do it if they're passionate for it, but something has to give.
Right.
And will I advise someone who has been called to ministry by God to abandon that work?
I'm going to politics.
Going to politics. Yeah, if you put it that way, I can see why maybe there'll be more, I guess, responsibility and scrutiny for the pastor who goes into politics. Also, being that politics has a bad rep. Everybody's like, politics is a dirty game. I don't think that's. Yes, people would look at you really shady, like you call yourself a pastor and you're not doing anything and this and that. They just assume that everybody who is in that political position is doing something dirty, is doing something, they're like, no, you can't, you're not really a pastor, or you're not really a believer if you're going to.
And the problem also is, I don't even know that I can say that is just an assumption. At least as far as our immediate sample size goes, like there hasn't, as of now, there's no good example, no precedence, nothing that you can say, oh, okay, there's been a believer that was involved in politics and yes, they did. No, but is it truth? So I don't know. I can say that.
Are you talking? There are a lot of believers that are in politics now.
No, but the major.
There are a lot of presidents that are believers. Are you talking about
the pastor that we
yes,
know?
like.
I'm talking about pastors.
Okay, pastors.
Not believers
okay,
now.
okay.
I'm saying past. Like if, she was talking about people assuming that once a pastor is in politics, even before the person does something, people assume the worst. People assume that, oh, this person is definitely doing something dirty. This person is making compromises. Even during the campaign, you can see people murmuring and going on.
Most likely would be the person making compromises.
Exactly.
That's
so, and I'm saying that I don't think that I can even say that people are assuming because it would be good to be able to have a response to someone making such comments that, oh, but there's been this person and this person did not. Like almost every representation as far as like someone that was a spiritual leader that we've had, there might be some examples out there, like there are so many countries in the world, but I'm going as far as our own exposure that we are aware of. There's been questionable stuff, there's been things that have happened that a lot of people are going, but isn't this person supposed to be a pastor? Oh, can you imagine? Not even just believer. Can you imagine? So there's been that thing attached to it already. So I think it would be a matter of someone that now, as a pastor, that wants to go into politics, that actually wants to run for office. It would be a matter of, okay, go there and prove us wrong.
Yes.
Go there and show us that it's actually possible to do this as a pastor and actually stand out and not just go with the bandwagon and go with the flow.
You'll probably kill that pastor, Sean.
That's another issue.
It's not that aggressive, but and for the viewers, I guess we are talking about pastor in the idealistic sense, right, and not just the title sense. Pastor, a shepherd of people, because there are some churches you go to that might have 5 pastors and 4 of those pastors might not be there, just there for administrative purposes, maybe to open a bank account or something. We're not saying everybody that has a title of pastor is a pastor. So we are talking about those
a true shepherd.
That's the context of the spiritual leadership we are talking about here, not that you donated 5 million to build a house and you're the head of church building project and give a title of pastor or pastor.
So much money.
That's not what we are saying here. So because you might be confused by saying, but I know a pastor but does he really shepherd people? Does he really conduct marriages? Does he go for their burials? Does he do all those things, counseling,
guidance, like actually being there in
know what spiritual food they need for that season and all this? Because you need to be attentive to those things and know the path that your flock should go on, right? So being involved in politics in that this might, because when you're in politics you're representing everyone, not just Christians, not just members of your church,
right?
That's true.
And by being in politics, I mean being voted for, right?
Yeah.
And it's a little bit interesting combining those two things. We'd like to hear from you to know if there has been any example in the democratic
Good
institution.
Yeah. Please leave comments. Let's see. Maybe there's some we're missing.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to the other part you touched on a bit earlier. I mean, I think the most polarizing.
I wasn't expecting us to, because that's the hard part. I thought we just dwell on this.
No. I think what has been the most polarizing in a number of elections or the period before the elections in Nigeria has been like the involvement of clergymen in influencing, and we've seen over and over the influence. I mean, sometimes even I will speak for myself in that. Sometimes I'm like, oh yes, because I feel that the candidate that is being spoken for, that is being endorsed, is the person I perceive to be better of the crop. So I mean, there's been times I'm like, oh yes, it's good that this person is being endorsed. So, but there's been a lot of reactions, negative, positive, and a lot of these candidates have failed, in quotes, to do or deliver on their promises made in pulpits. You have people going to churches, even people that are not Christians sometimes will go for church services, and they'll be given a time to talk to everyone. They'll be prayed for. And it seems that these people actually make it a point of duty to go around churches because they know that they can get the endorsement. So what do we think about that? Is that something that should be happening? I personally don't think that's okay, and I don't think that the position of a spiritual leader should be used as a tool for the political elites. I don't think that it should be like it's not an influencing job. Like you should be able to give your congregation the right teachings, the right guidance for them to be able to decide and decipher and discern who they want to vote for. Not a kind of and people know how much spiritual leaders know how much respect that they they know the weight. Yes, they know the weight, and the politicians that go to them during the campaign period too know that influence. So I just think it's almost, for me, I think it's almost like a misuse of power and authority. So that's my opinion, but I would like to know what you guys think.
I mean, that's a tough one. I guess firstly we need to know the role the church plays in different countries or environments. For example, I believe it was in Acts, when they were choosing deacons, Act 7 or wherever. The church was playing a role of also serving food. Some deacons were doing serving food and all those kind of, like they were catering to the nutritional aspect of people too and all that. So there's a social cultural influence of churches on people. It's not just the church is for spiritual growth or something, right? There's that social part, and it's a huge part of communities. I have no problem with politicians coming, because there's that aspect of the church where people gather, it's part of the society, and coming to talk about what they want to do. The problem I have now is if it's restricted to certain politicians. Let's say 5 people are going are running. If three out of those 5 want to come and speak in a church and talk about what they want to do, that's fine. They can be given time. But if the pastor says, okay, it's only this one person that can come, and then there's something interesting that might be going on there. So it's always a part of the community, it's always a part of the society in some places. So I just like how they were giving out food from church, I don't mind if they are giving out manifesto. Whoever wants, let it be free, let it be open, let
For
it
all
be
the candidates.
yeah, let them all come and talk, and there should not be any form of endorsement from
It's the endorsement
pulpit
that
as
is the
such.
problem.
And so this is why I like the point you make about allowing all the candidates come in to have their. But my issue is that is not what the church is for. They have their political debates. They have those debates that everyone can go. Because then what happens when maybe you have like an all Muslim candidate or or maybe 4 Muslims, 1 Christian, or you get, so why are they all coming? If you do not now allow the Muslim come to your church, obviously your bias is showing, right? And you are leaning to one side. But then allowing all of them come then begins to look like, what are we doing here? Is this what the church is for? Is this a debate ground? If they want to let their manifestos make people know their manifesto, they have
other
platforms to do that,
use.
not the church. If the pastor can come and, like you said, the pastor should teach his flock very well. Let them know what is right and what is wrong and this and that. At the end of the day, it is your choice as an individual to choose to vote for whoever. Even if you decide to vote for a Muslim as a Christian,
yeah.
This is your choice.
Yeah.
So I don't think the pastor should have any influence on that. Yeah.
I'm not saying there should be debate from the pulpit.
No,
I'm not saying that they should, 5 of them should line up on the altar.
No, but if they're coming, this one comes this Sunday, the other one comes next Sunday. They don't.
The church is
that's
not
what the church
exactly
is
the
for.
place for
We're
that.
coming for edification.
I mean,
And I feel like
are we
giving it-
boxing the church?
But the church, I think the church is already boxed. The church is for a purpose.
For a purpose. Not for
I don't think
political
we
reasons.
are boxing the church.
Okay.
I think what's actually happening these days is we are
unboxing the church.
Okay.
And the problem is,
So the
once
church
we
is not-
start opening the church up to certain things, the more we do, the more we have to do.
Yes, if you can allow this, why can't you allow this?
Yes. And then so I think it's actually safer or better or ideal for the church to stick to
What it is meant for.
church and at best encourage people to exercise their
Civil rights,
yeah.
exactly.
Just this is going on.
Get your PVC people, please.
Something
vote.
like that at
Things like
best. Just a reminder, especially for people that might want to think that all we need to do is pray. Like just a reminder of just the way we work hard at everything. This is also something that you have a role to play. Play your part, but not because there's no way. The thing is with this bringing in everyone, we are humans, right? There's no way bias will not show.
Exactly.
Even if a pastor allows all 4 candidates, even if they are all Christians, let's say, there's no way, it's unlikely that the pastor will not have like a favorite. There's no way that the pastor will not have someone that they just prefer and they believe, just like they will have someone they want to vote for, right? And it's going to be very difficult. It's going to take a high level of theatrics or self-control not to show.
Yes.
If people will read it, they will say that he smiled more, he hugged this person 7 times, or he did this to this person,
Exactly.
or there was a way he did the laying of hands when he was praying for. People will sense this. It's going to be difficult. So I would rather let the pastor decide they want to vote for in their closet, their family.
Yeah, there are a lot of things to unpack here.
Yes.
Firstly, the verb bringing. I'm not an advocate for the church bringing in people. If people want to come and talk, that is fine. Not the church sending out letters of invitation to the 5 candidates to bring them in. So, firstly, the verb bring means that the church is playing an active role in bringing those people in.
Maybe wrong church.
So, I don't want us to paint that picture
Right.
that the church should be proactive about, but I'm just saying the members of the church don't live in a bubble. They are part of the community. If someone wants to take 2-3 minutes to introduce themselves to the community, and they see that the church is there, hello, I am Ali, blah blah blah, I'm running for this one. Street lights have been broken, I want this. Remember, the election is this one, and it's your right to this one. Thank you very much. Thank you, pastor. And he leaves. And all that. If I feel it may not be done during Sunday service, I don't know, but I'm just saying that there is also that community part. We cannot say we are Christians and turn a blind eye and just live in a bubble, right? So that's what I think can. I mean, you see, I'll just pause at that. The second thing that we're talking about is the endorsing of people. Where the pastor has a favorite and all that. So the pastor really force that. Ideally, no, the pastor cannot. But I'm not against pastors talking about social and governance issues, which because in governance we've got the economic part, the social part, the military and all this kind of stuff, right? And not from the pulpit though. It should not conflict it with his message.
Absolutely.
But there are some principles of the Word of God that go against some of the things that might be propagated. I don't open a can of worms here, but just reinforcing those principles and letting them know God's standard, because there is no multiple truths as such. It's God's standard that is the truth, right? Just reminding them of those things, and you can never 100% agree with the platform of a candidate. Even in Nigeria, I guess we're talking in the context of Nigeria.
Right.
Our politics don't have platforms. There are no philosophies. Like, this political party A supports increasing of government and increasing of taxes. No, we don't have such. We don't have such ideologies. Our politics is not that of ideologies and platforms. Our politics is more about fame and power. As such, right? So
true.
So I feel this might not even be applicable, reinforcing the ideologies and stuff. Just about letting the people know what's God's standard, letting people know that they're not to live in a bubble and do stuff, right? So no, the church should not bring people, but if people want to come in,
they should be allowed to.
They should be allowed to. Whoever. Some people might not even want to come in because it might hurt their chances of winning. Yeah, because some people might not want to come because it might hurt their chances of winning. Some people don't want to be associated with Christians. Right. So.
But I think it becomes a problem. I kind of see where you're coming from, in that, the church being involved in some way in, with what's going on in the society and all of that. And we see some churches like doing charity, reaching out. I've seen churches fixing roads. I've seen churches digging boreholes, wells, and things like that. And I would agree with that. But as far as election period, campaigning and politics, I don't really agree with that. Even if we're not saying bring. I mean, I actually didn't get the idea of bringing. Even if, like you just said, there are some candidates that will not come. No one is going to know that the reason why
they didn't come is because
candidates B did not go to church AZY is because they did not go, or they were not interested. All we're going to see in the newspaper, the Monday after church service is this person with a picture of the pastor or the bishop or whoever laying hands on that person. Nobody is going to know that
it was because
the other person just didn't want to, or they think it might hurt their chances. Nobody is going to ask for all the details, and people are going to, draw so many conclusions. So I just feel that it's too polarizing for church to be directly involved. That's just my personal opinion now.
Laying hands is not a sign of endorsement.
It is.
So I don't support, as I mentioned, I don't support endorsing.
Even if you don't lay hands, even if it's just the person holding a microphone and talking in any church, we know how it's going to be reported. We know how it's going to look. And my point is, nobody is going to know that there are 5 people running for a particular office in one state, for example.
And
that
only one of them
decided to go round to churches because maybe their campaign secretary or someone running their campaign decided that, it would be a good idea, we'll be able to. And the other ones feel like we don't have any business with that. We're going to enter streets. We're going to do local campaign and go into all the outskirts and all of that. Let's use a different strategy. Nobody is going to care about that. All it's going to look like is pastor this is it. Like, even if the pastor is not endorsing, just appearing in a church. I've been in a church service before that some people walked out because a particular candidate came in
and spoke.
They not even allowed the person to speak. As soon as he walked in, they're like, why would you allow this? Because apparently he ran for the post before. Maybe he wanted to run for second time or something like that. And he was owing people salaries and all of that. They're like, what? This person, how can you even? They did not want to.
A politician should not go to church.
No, they're not going to church. That's not his church.
Exactly.
That's not his church. Like, it's
Gatekeeping
clear.
who enters church.
No.
Enter and join the congregation. Don't enter and come and campaign.
Is it everybody that goes to a church that should join the congregation?
No, you don't understand. When you say that the politicians
they can come and talk.
I don't think they should even come and talk.
I feel it's a little bit interesting that people walked in because someone entered the church. Walked out because someone entered the church, honestly.
Yeah, they walked out. They didn't even
I feel it's kind of interesting because the church, anybody can walk into a church, right?
Because they already knew what was going to happen.
And what they
thought
thought.
not speak in this case.
No, they did eventually. I'm saying as soon as they didn't wait.
The person didn't even have an opportunity to speak.
They didn't wait. There was actually a big deal, special recognition. They recognized even all the people that came with them, and then they called him forward, and he said all sorts and all of that, and then the whole praying thing happened. So the people that walked out were actually right. What I'm not saying is, because of all we have seen, people don't even wait for, okay, let these people actually do it. Like, let me even see where it's going to get to. And the same way I was saying, when you're going to see headlines, the headlines that are going to make it seem like that person was actually endorsed. Even I think there was a movie we saw that someone was actually, they kept putting pressure on it. I think King of Boys or something.
King of Boys.
Yeah, they kept putting, and this man kept saying, because you know what it means.
Yes,
as soon as a candidate, but as soon as a candidate walks into your church and it's election, if it's not election period, nobody cares. It's just in church.
It's just in church.
But during that period, once you know that election is next year or in a few months, every action, and we know that we politicians too, nothing is a joke.
Exactly.
It's a deliberate action. So I would just rather have the church, stay out of it, because it's like staining your white. To be honest, because
I feel what you're saying, though. I feel what you're saying, because yes, we are not naive, politicians do this kind of things, but my point is, yes, there are bad politicians, there are good politicians, there are evil ones, and like, you need to know who you bring to your pulpit, right, and all that, right? My point is, I've seen it in a lot of cases in which different people that are running for different offices, and I'm not even talking as big as governor, talking of councillor or something, just bring up that awareness in church and during election and remind people, okay, come out to this and vote. They don't talk about the parties, they don't talk about this, they just
So is it that
the candidate himself, they just let themselves become aware to the people. They let the people know about them.
They should go house to house, please.
Exactly.
They should go and knock on doors.
They should do it like
They should go and knock on doors.
in Canada and here. People they
and I'm even talking about in Canada, yeah. I've been in the service where, because like in me right now there's the mayoral election that is going on. I experienced something similar in another town that I live in, where someone that was running for, I guess, ombudsman or whatever they call that thing, and just came to make himself known and talk about a street light or something there and all that, and 2 minutes
in the church.
It happened.
It was done, and another person might come and say it is the basketball court he wants to do as the blah blah blah.
Nah, go and do it, my friend.
And it was done. It's just that a lot of people might not be aware of this. Those people might not have the political power or clout to put themselves on TV or this kind of things. So
they have to try to reach out to
there are
places where
lots
people
of
are gathered. I get that though. I get it.
And it is part of our role as believers to be involved in governance, right? We should vote from a place of information, and it's not everything that is provincial or state or federal. Yes,
some are local.
Yeah, and that's where it should start. So I mean, for those kind of things, the church is very strong in the grassroots in a lot of communities.
Correct.
Yeah, so I feel it goes a long way. It plays a positive role. Now, I mean, that area of, because that one is just for people voting for a place of information, knowing that there's even mayoral, like the mayor elections and everything. But now when it comes to someone that everyone knows characteristics, everyone knows their distance, what is the purpose for him coming to that church? I guess the motivation has to be there. Yeah, and I guess pastors should have that judgment, right? Or question the person that has come, like, what is your motivation, right? Is it to awareness sake and all these kind of things, right? So because if he's a former state governor that is coming, everybody must have awareness. There's no always there's no other awareness that he wants to do. So I feel it has this place in the grassroots and all those kind of places, right? Those same people will also go to schools. They will also go to
mosques,
unions and mosques, malls, and all this, right? And
I get
it
you.
is from there we get good governance from the grassroots.
Yeah.
I guess it's just difficult to, create that clear.
What do you guys now think about pastors laying hands on people and all that?
I think it's endorsements.
The endorsements.
What do you think about endorsements then?
No,
I thought to ask you questions.
We obviously think that pastors should not endorse candidates.
We don't think,
because you have an influence over your flock, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
And if they see you laying hands, chances that they will vote for that person is high, right? Or high. But anyway, I don't think that people. Baba and I think we're on the same page.
When you were talking, or when one of you were talking, something flashed in my mind about Zacchaeus and Jesus. Zacchaeus was a government official; he was the one collecting taxes, and Jesus related with him, dined with him.
We're not saying they should not dine or have friends.
No, nobody's saying that.
No, you can have family members, you can have friends that are in politics.
The points that I'm trying to make, it's not like ostracize every politician because you're a pastor or you're a believer. It is endorsing, especially from that place of influence. You have a 50,000 congregation, and then this particular candidate walks in and climbs on the stage,
And you
and
pray
then
for it
and they
all.
were like, we need a better Nigeria.
Yeah.
This and that. And he kneels and you lay your hands on him.
And you wish them success. I mean, what else?
What else? That is
That's it.
That's
it.
endorsement, yeah.
And you know, even if yes, you just supported that person, you never received any financial favors.
You just
People
think that
will
they are
believe
good.
that they have slipped in one fat envelope under your, desk and things like that. You really don't want that stain on your whites.
I understand that the optics are really, really bad when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
The optics are bad when it comes to that.
And
but
the optics being bad, it's not even limited to Nigeria. Like we've seen this happen with elections even in first world countries.
Yes.
Like major, like big, huge spiritual leaders being involved in these things, and people are saying all sorts, and it's just not the kind of as far as I'm concerned, it's not the kind of reputation that we want. Like I'm really looking forward to that. Just so we're clear, I really believe that a lot of believers should actually get involved in politics. I'm looking forward to having a time where as soon as you hear that someone running for office is a believer, you're certain that they have good intentions. Like I'm hoping, I'm looking forward to a time where we actually we have that track record. Like like even people that are not believers are going, oh, that guy is a Christian, oh, that lady is a Christian, oh, definitely we know that what they are saying that they will do. Like I'm really looking forward to us a lot more believers getting involved, and like maybe
almost all
thinking
hoping too much, but I really, so I'm actually not saying that believers should not be involved in politics, like run for office. I actually want us to, so that we can have examples of don't you know this person, they are believers, they did this, they did that,
And just to add a little bit, so if a believer is coming, a pastor is coming, a pastor who is running for election is coming from a particular church or congregation, I do not think, and maybe I don't know, like what do you guys think? Will he, if he goes on stage and the head pastor then endorses him or whatever, that's a little different, right? Than someone who has never come to the church before, and then he's now coming to do this.
No, the question, I think this topic, we just have to find a way to wrap it. Yes. Because it could go on and on. Because now the question I will ask is that person automatically the best person for the position just because they're a member of the church? Does it mean that there isn't anyone else out there that might even be a believer too from another church that might actually be better than this person? So it's, I don't know.
Yeah, they're very.
So, I mean,
it's nuanced, I guess.
You guys have raised a lot of things, man. And I don't know which one to respond to, but I mean, the topic is the church, the pulpit, and politics. I mean, we have been talking for the past 30 minutes about the pulpit and politics. I guess Bobola was alluding to now the church and politics when she was talking about when a believer is going for, because previously we were talking about the pulpit, like leadership and politics.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about, we diverge a little bit to that of believers, not generally leaders, going for politics. And I would like to point out a lot of people that believe in Jesus have gone for politics in the past. And,
a lot of people that believe in Jesus, or a lot of people that say that feel out Christianity as religion when they're feeling
a lot of people that believe in Jesus.
I mean, at the end of the day, we don't even know.
That's it. So we don't know what I'm saying. We don't know.
I mean,
God knows what
they said that they believe in Jesus, and I mean, even before they were politicians and all that, right? Grew up in Christian homes and all these things, right? Now we are going down a rabbit hole of the security of a believer, right? And all that.
That's
what I'm saying.
I mean, we see people that, I mean, I mean, let me not even go down. That's the church and the this thing. So what I just wanted to point out there is, believers can go for politics. It's not wrong. A question was asked: is he the best person to go. And we're talking in the context of democracy here. The best person in a democratic environment is the maximum. No, the person that gets the maximum votes, because democracy is government of the people, by the people.
For the people.
So if the people want someone who reduces beer price by $1, if that's what majority of people want, that is the best person for that post. It may not be what you want, it may not be your interest, it may not be my interest, it may not be your interest. But if that's what the major, and that's what democracy says is the best person. So we cannot there's no objective measurement of who the best person is, because the best person for any post in a political stuff is the person that the majority of people want. And the reason why they want that person is not something that you can say is good or bad. It is left to
that's the
each person
about politics.
Each person's conviction why they want that person. And I think we start bordering on the part of pride or ego that's saying that the reason why someone is voting for someone else is not valid enough. They choose their one man, one vote in the democratic place, and they choose how to spend their vote on. So, and at the end of the day, it's collated and you say the best person. So, whether it's a pastor that's the best person, or an imam, or an atheist, we leave it to the people. And we need to respect that. And just pray for guidance on the affairs of things, right? Also, there is a part of education, right? For people to know what to expect from government. It's talking in the context of Nigeria. A lot of people don't know what to expect at each level of governance. What should the president do? What should your senator that's in the Senate do for you? What your House of Rep in the federal level should do for you? What should the governor do for you? What should your House of Rep in the state house do for you? What should your local government chairman do for you? What should your councillor do for you? There are different. Some are in charge of waste and disposal. Some are in charge of housing. Some are in charge of health. Some are in charge of security. Some are in charge of posts. Some are in charge of commerce. There are different levels of things, and we need to educate ourselves so that when you're voting for a governor who may not have anything to do with security and military, you wouldn't want to cast your vote based on things that he has no power over.
Because you
think so I feel we just need to also educate. And can we do that in the church? We are coming back to the pulpit and church. and is it politics if you educate people on what to expect from a government at every level? Should believers be doing that?
Okay, I mean, we're going to have to wrap up this conversation very soon, but I will just say that I used to attend a church where they would have these kind of sessions. Maybe instead of teaching, instead of just regular preaching, they would come and bring someone who maybe to talk about health, right? In that case, I don't think there's anything wrong with having someone, maybe a political analyst or whatever, to come and then talk about these are the levels of government in Nigeria. This is who is responsible for who, or in whatever part of the world. This is who is responsible for who, this and this and that, so that you are more educated to know who to vote for and who is responsible for what, right? I don't think then that would be bad. You can even do that before election, but maybe like now that the election is next year, this may be a good time to do it. Just don't endorse. That is what I'm trying to say.
So I think that it's not bad if the church is doing that. I don't think that anybody would think that is wrong, or I personally would not think that is wrong. But I also don't think that I would expect it of the church, because for me, I don't think that that's like the main. So if they do it, it's a good, like it's like an add-on thing,
Right.
and that would be great. I would personally be impressed. Like, oh, that's great. Like, it's always good when you see people actually seem to, because it's kind of part of your well-being as a person. Like, if everything is working well in your society, like your sanity, your mental health, everything is going on well, there's security, your kids can play around, it's good, right? So it's great if I see a church like going the extra mile. I would say it's the extra mile, but I wouldn't say that, oh, this church, like the church must be doing this. So I wouldn't see it as a must-have, but a good to have.
Agreed.
We are all converging towards the end, but
yes. We agree to disagree. We disagree to agree.
And I know that
was there any disagreement? I don't know what you're talking about.
a little bit.
Always a cordial.
A sprinkle of disagreement.
But yeah, we are interested to know what our listeners think about this topic. If you think there should be any involvement between the church and politics, let us know on our YouTube channel at Something Like Podcast. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at s_light_pod. Thank you all so much for listening up until this point. We appreciate you. Thank you, Chooks, for taking time out of your busy schedule, because you were in TED, bro. You were such a busy man. Gracing us with your presence.
We truly appreciate it.
I'm enjoying the couch, and thanks for having me here. And I don't know why the couch just became hot. Maybe it's the tea that I just finished drinking.
It has to be the tea.
Alright, thank you all so much. Have a good rest of your day, time, week, whatever. Anyway, keep shining as the light that you are.
You are.
Should say it with us. Say keep shining as the light.
I'll even do more.
What's that?
Shining as the lights as you are.
Choose to put it on his flashlight, really?